Are strap-ons? Today, in honor of Pride, Kelsey and I will be answering your questions in a beautiful Q, the Q stands for queer, and gay, because gay rhymes with A, that have been submitted anonymously.
Ooh, danger.
Oh shit.
Good thing I got my tea out.
Good thing I got my wine out, because I'm on my period. Let's talk about how we identify.
Oh, sure. I identify as bisexual or pansexual, and I am in a open relationship.
Ooh! I identify pretty much, for convenience, I say gay, lesbian, but ultimately, I think I want to drop all of it and just say queer.
Recently open bi girl here struggling. Oh, I love this question. How are you able to tell if a cute girl is flirting with you or just being friendly? God damn it, the bane of my existence.
Yeah, okay. Well, signs you can look for. 1, are they providing you a service, i.e. making your coffee? Odds are, not flirting. If they give you their number, they were flirting. Yeah. The question about whether or not somebody's flirting with you doesn't really matter in terms of sexuality, because even if you were, let's say, a heteronormative straight person, you couldn't fully tell if someone was flirting with you or not. That's why we have romantic comedies.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Let's figure it out.
And cha-ching. Were you nervous before your first time in bed with a woman? Ooh.
I was with a woman before I was ever with a man, and we were experimenting at a sleepover, and it was like kind of easy because we all were experienced. Yeah, all.
How many people were at
I
this
just outed myself so hard. This is the first time I got laid. It was like kind of an orgy. It was like a teen girl orgy.
Do you feel like when you were experimenting in your orgy, everyone was on the same page, you know, because you guys were all young and it was all like this understanding of experimentation. Do you feel like that contributed to making you less nervous?
I think I was way more into it than anyone else, and you know, go figure, I'm more out than any of them that were involved that I know of. But I think there was like a innate horniness that like your teen self just like is exuding. Like we were all pretty fucking horny.
Ready to do something somewhere.
Yeah. What about you?
For me, I was incredibly, deeply beyond nervous. So I also hadn't had sex at all yet. And I was like 19.
Oh, wow.
I was super Christian growing up, so I had saved myself for marriage.
Oh,
But
cute.
then the first girl I ever kissed, I was like, we should also probably. Something that happened to me a lot in the initial years of my coming out and accepting my sexuality is that I would be nervous up until the point where I could physically feel how aroused they were.
Ooh.
And then I would be fine.
Oh,
But
so it's like a good sign.
everything leading up to that moment, I would be terrified. And then once I could physically feel how aroused they were, I was like, great, I got this.
I did it once, not too long ago, and it kind of scarred me a little bit, where I was doing what I thought was a thing that made someone feel good, and I was kind of stopped and was told that like she didn't want to be experimented on, as if like I wasn't experienced enough to do what was required of myself. And it really fucked me up a little bit. Like for a while I was like, oh my God.
Because every body is different, they interact with each other differently. So basically the first time when you have sex with a person is the first time you have sex. Every single time. Great question, everybody.
Yes.
Boom.
How do you get over a crush on someone who isn't queer?
Kelsey, have you ever had a crush on a straight person?
All the fucking time. This is the bane of our existences. And I think it's the same as having a crush on someone of your same sexual orientation that doesn't like you. It just is one of those things where you just have to figure out how to get over it. There's no formula.
You know, I once had a crush on a straight friend of mine, and I pursued it. We were like best friends.
Ooh.
And you know, to be honest, the douche in this story is me. We were really close, and I was like, well, now I'm kissing you. And she was like, no, friendship, please. And I was like, oh, no. And then I just stopped being friends with them. And that was cruel. That was cruel on my part, you know? So if you're friends with someone that you have a crush on, and they've already expressed that they do not feel that way towards you, save yourself the friendship and the time, and reevaluate your interactions. Boom! Whoa!
Ooh.
I didn't admit to myself that I was bisexual until 9 years into a very happy marriage.
Oh.
I sometimes feel like I'm lying to people by omission because I never really came out. My husband knows, my siblings know, but my parents don't. I would not be happy about it. Should I make a point of coming out, even if I'm in a happy, straight marriage?
My coming out story was not like this big rainbow moment. Most of the time it's not a big, it's kind of over a series of years, and you kind of get to come out multiple times. You have to talk to people about it for the first time over your lifetime, and I think you get better at it each time you do it.
You know, specifically regarding the parents question, I think that if you feel like you can't feel as close to them without them knowing the whole truth about you, then go for it.
Yep.
And be prepared that their reaction won't be giving you anything in return. It may be the case that this is just something you're giving yourself, which is feeling like you're living a truthful life.
And just to say, like, to remind you, just because you're in a straight, happy marriage, your bisexuality is just as valid as someone that's just fucking straight or just as queerest person on earth. How did you start getting into the dating scene after coming out?
Woo!
That's a great question.
Ooh.
How did you get into the dating scene?
The
gating scene.
The gating scene. I think that anything applicable to straight people is also applicable to queer people. Like, dating is hard. There are a lot of apps out there to make it more convenient, but that might not make it any less hard to do. You have to go to activities.
Yeah.
I met some people from doing rock climbing. Like, you have
Gay
to go.
kickball, that was mine.
Yeah, just go start putting yourself out there, and eventually you'll make friends, and then one day you'll make a friend that sometimes you might want to date.
Oh, put yourself inside of.
You know? Wow. Have you ever used a strap-on? I want to use one, and so does my girlfriend, but I'm not sure how to go about it, and I'm afraid I might hurt her.
I love this question.
Me too. I've only ever tried to use one once, and that was in college. And look, it didn't go great. Because we just bought something that was like crazy and cheap, and nothing worked. And everything, it was like slipping, and like, it was just so uncomfortable. I think that like the first thing you need to know before strap-on experimentation is which of you two like penetrative sex. You know what I mean?
100%.
It didn't work out, but it doesn't mean I don't want to do it. Like, I like penetrative sex. I'm like, let's do it. Get at me.
Strap-ons are really fun, but not very practical. It's 2019, and somehow we still can't figure out a way to strap it on, no pun intended, to make it the most useful version of itself. And also, if you're someone who's never had a penis attached to you,
yeah, right.
it's like you really don't know that movement, and it can be kind of silly and floppy the first time. You have to figure out the positions. So give yourself some wiggle room and some learning curve, because you're gonna have to figure out how a dick works if you've never had one.
What types of harnesses have you tried?
The one that I find to be...
Because I'm looking for some real consumer feedback.
The one that I find to be the most helpful is a three-parter, or I guess it's a four-parter. It's one that straps around each thigh and then also around your waist.
That feels like so many things.
But it's like putting on a pair of pants.
And remember, there are two parts to a strap-on. Not only does the harness come in a bunch of shapes and sizes, the dildo comes in a bunch of shapes and sizes. So just, if you're worried about hurting your partner, that can be solved with open communication. I would say, find a dildo that works for you first, and then find an equivalent dildo that's strap-on compatible. Conclusively, I would say the first step in any strap-on experimentation is figuring out which one of you gets pleasure from being penetrated.
Amen.
At the end of the day, that's it, right?
Yeah. I've recently discovered that I'm bisexual. Congratulations! I have only had romantic relationships with men, and whenever I had a date with a girl, she was no longer interested in me once she found out that I had never been with a girl. How can I date girls if many don't want to be another girl's first? That makes me angry.
Ooh, that makes me guilty.
Really?
Oh, yeah.
Hannah!
Ma'am.
Hannah! No, Hannah!
I feel
Hannah!
Yeah. I mean, honestly, I put up a big to-do before Ella and I went out on our first date. I was like, has this person been in a long-term committed relationship with a woman before? And my friend who set us up just was like, yeah, which was a lie. But like, to be fair, Ella had been with women and she'd been in short-term relationships, but no, not like a long-term, et cetera, et cetera. But I was coming at it from a really self-protective perspective. And I regret feeling that way.
You should, because I think then we're sorry.
I do.
Because I think then you're seeing someone as sex, and you're not seeing someone as a person.
Okay, well, I think that people who feel this way have been used and loosed in, experimental relationships. I mean, obviously there's a wound there.
Okay, I'm
there's
seeing
a
what you're
scar
saying.
there,
Okay,
right?
yeah.
And unless the strength of your connection is strong enough, like it's meant to be, it's kismet, then you guys can get through it. Like I wanted to be with Ella. Even after I found out, I was like, oh, so you haven't been like in a long-term relationship. I was already too in love to care. And our final question on this first round of anonymous QandGay is scissoring something lesbians actually do?
I'm glad you asked.
Let's take it to mean when two women have sex, do they scissor?
Okay, there's a recently popular movie that's just come out this summer that talks about a queer young high school girl, and she says scissoring is not a thing, and she's adamant about how scissoring is not a thing. I have scissored many a women, so what was I doing?
Yeah. The idea of two scissors coming at each other while in a very disconnected, front-facing way.
Vertical, horizontal.
I don't know. It seems very pornographic.
Yeah.
I think the idea of two women rubbing their bodies together to achieve mutual pleasure is pretty common.
Yeah, dry humping is better than sex 9 times out of 10.
Some people have orgasms from it. If you're like an external pleasure person, you're gonna get a lot out of it.
I am all outside, baby. I could rub up against this fucking bench and I'm sorry.
So in terms of scissoring, yes. People do rub and come. We have answered all the questions that I printed out and stuck, a flag on. But let's give a big shout out and thank you first to Kelsey.
Yay, shout out to me. Thanks for having me, Hannah.
Thanks
I
for
love being here.
If people want to find out more about you, where can they find you? What are you doing?
Across all boards, Kelsey Darragh, and you can listen to my new podcast, Confidently Unsecure. Unsecure? That's not what it's called.
What's up?
Confidently Insecure, wherever podcasts are listened to.
And to everyone else who submitted anonymous questions, I just want to let you know, we got them, we've read them, and we're going to work on getting as many of them answered as possible. So thank you for being here. And click like to show me that you're here.
Happy Pride!
Happy Pride!
Go be gay somewhere.
Mwah. Have a great day.